going to be as we enter pick and ban. It's Vitality starting off with the bans. It's Galio and Elise. Mysterious Monkeys have banned away the Zac. No surprises there.
Standard so far. Vitality not been huge on Galio. Rakan from Mysterious Monkeys, same as last week. I actually think Rakan is getting better and better as a pick even without Xayah. I think as soon as you like
Started
Kalista.
to see him come up a little bit more without.
Yeah, exactly. I think actually Rakan is super good here. So Twitch being removed, Pyra.
This is a big one right now. It's been Yuki's most played champion. He's had a lot of success on it relative to what the team's been able to do. It's followed up by a Thresh ban. That means Kha'Zix insta lock and loaded for Djoko.
Oh, interesting. So Syndra is open right now. Kennen is also available for the Mysterious Monkeys. Xayah obviously also open, but she's good, but less valuable when Rakan has already been removed, but she's still an option to take.
Well, Yuki has only played one other champion this split so far. It was the Varus, but this time he gets his hands on the Ashe.
So one of the narratives, for in-game that I wanted to talk about was how some teams in Europe are not making it easier for themselves to pick up early wins because they draft very little engage. But I like the fact now that Mysterious Monkeys already in the first pick and ban phase actually lock in the Ashe. A pick that's not been huge in Europe so far. Kind of weird, but I think a lot of the AD carries, they're like, give me Twitch, I can carry. Not necessary.
Yeah.
Pick an Ashe, get a much easier tool to engage with, and then try and use that to force team fights.
Absolutely, but range is going to get close on matched as the Caitlyn and now the Braum is going to be locked in on Vitality's side, so they rounded out. Fairly strong bottom lane. Let's see what Monkeys want to answer with on their last pick of this first phase.
I mean, if Monkeys pick a range support here, they have a winning bot lane against the Caitlyn, which is really good because Caitlyn's mid game is still extremely weak. So if you can actually win the bottom side 2v2, Caitlyn becomes kind of meh until the late game, and that's obviously 3-4 items. That's pretty far into the game. So I really like this pick here from CozQ or from Mysterious Monkeys to say, let's actually just win the bot lane against this Caitlyn here. Yeah. And against Steelback, one of the guys we're really looking at on the side of Vitality, who needs to do more if this team wants to actually make playoffs.
Well, it's adaptation from this team. The whole team has definitely learned from the failures they've had in their first few weeks in the LCS and limited, coming in only tested through the Challenger Series as a coach and seeing if he can take on the likes of Yamato Cannon, who honestly has had trouble with his new squad as well.
It is difficult early on because their top teams are playing well, and then when you are Vitality Mysterious Monkeys, you also look at teams like Splice and Misfits who are just slightly above you in terms of the overall strength, and it makes it hard. Now Mysterious Monkeys, if they want to play tank top, which we have seen before from them, it would have to be Gragas in this case, and that's not really been a massive Jisu pick here in the LCS. Jarvan, though, is available, a champion he's preferred to play. With the Fiora ban, I think Jarvan is definitely an option for him right now.
Kennen's off the board too, that top lane pick, and Jace is now banned. Seems like this is a very attractive choice. Is that what they're going to lock first, you think?
They don't necessarily have to, but obviously they need to show either mid or top. So it's kind of sucky for either Jisu or CozQ that they need to blind it and then
or they do that
instead. Okay.
All right, we got a Kled. Jisu wants to go all in. I mean, you talked about engage. It's about as heavy as it gets.
Sure, I mean, there's a lot of ways for Mysterious Monkeys to actually start fights properly here. Lee Sin, Kled, Ashe, they all work well there. That's a problem, though, for Jisu up in the top lane. Renekton for Cabochard coming in. Obviously still a very strong lane bully, and now Syndra would actually be available as a potential blind pick mid, but it's not been a champion Nukeduck has preferred to play, and he goes for LeBlanc instead.
All right, well, CozQ,
he could
certainly
just
not afraid
here.
to just play something into it, and Cassiopeia has been one of his signatures.
You could CozQ, you can just take the Syndra as well, and it's still a good matchup for CozQ. We know his Katarina is a thing, we saw it last week, but I think the Cassiopeia here is just a nice, safe choice.
Whole ban phase and pick phase goes by and we don't see a Syndra. This has definitely been a little bit different, but the Cassiopeia into Nukeduck's LeBlanc. Mysterious Monkeys have a lot of bite to their composition.
Especially because Mysterious Monkeys now sit with a very strong 2v2 bottom lane. They have a good mid lane matchup as well. They have an early game jungler who can actually be active against a team like Vitality where Djoko has been the man to look at in the early game. The lanes have not been able to do much on their own. They've really relied on Djoko to be a part of almost everything. But he's going to be in a slight ganking disadvantage compared to the Lee Sin on the side of Mysterious Monkeys. So I'm very interested to see this early game here. I think the Monkeys actually came out of this draft pretty well. But obviously you look at a Renekton and say, well, if Cabochard can dumpster his top lane, then suddenly Vitality will have a massive advantage.
Yeah. Have to keep an eye on that top lane, how it all goes out. But Vitality have had trouble snowballing just about any of their lanes. Just getting one, you got to think, is a big victory for this squad right now. Both teams winless in 2 weeks here in the European LCS. It is going to be so hard to climb out of that deficit going into cross-group play. You need to end with the W. Vitality, Mysterious Monkeys, both duking it out at the bottom of their group. We'll see who comes out on top in game number 1. We are getting ready to load up onto the Rift. Don't forget to keep telling us who you think is going to get the victory. Hop on Twitter. As always, hashtag VIT win or hashtag MMWin. Tell us who you believe in, and we'll be checking in on that one later in the game. The cheer goes up, crowd gets pumped, and the players are loaded onto Summoner's Rift.
And I think, Pyra, this is actually a hard series to predict beforehand. I think a lot of people look at Vitality and say they are the favorites. Some of that is also based on the fact that it is Team Vitality, which often for a lot of people is still regarded as like a bigger name than some of the newer organizations, despite Vitality not really achieving anything for now over a year.
And you also have to think about the players on this lineup. We talk about names that people have known for so long. You know, the likes of Cabochard, Vander coming back in after, you know, a bit of an absence in the LCS, Steelback, always putting up big stat numbers. But
I mean, yeah.
It just, we haven't seen them pan out into performance for a long time.
That's the thing. Djoko is, you know, the newest name to the scene. Obviously, he's been playing for Millennium and so on in the French scene for quite some time before he joined Vitality in the LCS. So he's not a new player either. There's a lot of veterans. And one of the things we talked about before the split was, you know, we wanted to really make sure we didn't hype up some of these names too much before they actually showed something in the summer split. Because, as you said, Pyra, it's been a while since we have seen a Cabochard dominate the top lane or a Steelback just play perfect in team fights. We need to see it again before we actually want to start really hyping up the names.
Against the Monkeys, this might be the best chance they're going to get, but we'll have to wait a little while. Unfortunately, pause comes in. Yeah, something happened. Auto attacks before minions.
Well, it's not even, yeah, definitely not auto attack one, but I think in your point there about, you know, playing the Mysterious Monkeys, like, that is kind of the chance for some of these Vitality players to say, hey guys, this is a new team with a bunch of challenger players coming into the LCS. We need to show it that we are better than they are and that we can actually get the upper hand, especially in the 1v1s, but also as a team. Because that's kind of the thing when you are the old guard and you've been in the LCS for such a long time, you never want to lose to the new kids coming in, especially a team like Mysterious Monkeys where they've been struggling so far, but at the same time, that means all the pressure is on Vitality. Mysterious Monkeys, they can play pretty free. Like, if they do well, people are going to be like, great, we like your playstyle, you're fun to watch, great, you just won a game.
It's the downside of having those expectations when you can't live up to them. And for the Monkeys, not only do they have the weight off those shoulders, they also can play the preferred style. They want to go in. They have the composition to do it. And Vitality, we've seen them play so passively. It's so contradictory to their name, too. I mean, sometimes their play, it feels like a dead fish.
Well, mid lane, we see the Snake go very aggressive against Nukeduck. Obviously, level 1 Cassiopeia. The skill is how fast can you click the E button.
But the Doran's shield, to be able to heal up some of that. Nukeduck. A lot of Doran shields on the Vitality side, not just in the AD carry and top laner positions. Always
important to highlight the Doran shield definitely benefits LeBlanc in this matchup compared to how it used to be with like a Doran's ring, and you would lose the early trade and you'd be like, well, I have no potions left and I can't really get an HP back and I have to recall now and it's all looking terrible. Obviously Doran's shield helps out, but Nukeduck is still under pressure early.
This might present a ganking opportunity to Djoko. However, you said he was going to be a little far behind Lamabear, but Lamabear has also been fairly slow starting in the jungle in the games we've seen from him so far. Maybe that's going to even out. We'll take a look as it goes down. Steelback and Vander trying to push Dreams back away from the Glitter Lance of Harass. Fairly even on the farm game, but we're only 3 minutes in.
And I'm just happy, Pirate, we see someone pick Ashe. Because, man, she's still such a good pick. Yeah, a little top lane trading happening, nothing too fancy. Cabochard should be able to control the lane early. Oh, Jisu, that was...
He wanted to go way in. He lost Skarl.
Oh, that was an aggressive move in, but Ashe in the LCK has been picked in 66% of the games here in the summer split. So for her, like 31 picks, it's not fully updated from today's games, but still 66%. Very high number, very high number. Only Varus is above her. In the EU LCS, Ashe has been picked 21% of the games only, picked or banned, I should add in. Above her, we have things like Caitlyn, Varus, Kalista, Kennen AD Carry, Twitch, Xayah, all these champions have been above her in terms of pick and ban. And yet she's still considered such a power pick in the best region in the world. So I'm glad to see her, because again, if you are a team where, oh, let's see top lane.
Point back in just a second as Jisu hops right back on top of Skarl. Low health bars, but Djoko incoming. Oh, flash for flash. Or dash for flash, I should say.
Yeah, I like that play from Djoko here. Jisu needs to respect that, okay, if he flashes after me, he will be able to Q at the same time and maybe kill me. But yeah, back to
your point, though.
To the Ash point there, like, if your team were macro, like maybe it's not the strongest part of your team, like, you know, great shot calling and these different things, then things like Ash just add so much value because she brings part of, you know, an engage with her arrow. While it's not 100% consistent, it's at least a way to start a fight. And oftentimes, if you can't properly set up the perfect vision, or you can't really control the minion waves, honestly, just grouping around like an objective like a dragon or a baron or a tower and just say, just arrow, just shoot it, you know, off cooldown, just shoot it. If we land it, we get a kill, and then maybe we get the objective. That's actually a good way for some of these teams to pick up wins.
And it's a very simple strategy, right? Like it really just encompasses being on the same page enough to group around an objective, which we've seen the monkeys do, even if they're not always able to pick up that objective or they get scared off of it. On another note, pause right now, just getting word from production that it actually is a mouse-related issue. So Djoko having some mouse troubles right now, and maybe that's why he didn't get that kill.
Well, he got a flash.
Nah, he would have had to flash.
Yeah, he got a flash. He's happy. Lamabear's up there as well, so.
Yeah, a lot of pressure top. I mean, this seems to be the game plan for Vitality, right? He's got to snowball some lane. There's so much dependency from Djoko.
And when you pick Renekton, like, that's the lane you're going to. Every single time. Like, Renekton is the kind of champion who needs to really win early game, otherwise he tends to be a bit outscaled.
Absolutely. Well, as we're getting the settings resolved on stage at the time being, still, if Jisu is going to play that aggressive, that's going to happen more and more. He's not going to have his flash up for a good 5 minutes now. So it seems like the Vitality game plan just kind of keep on picking on him. And he's been the one who's had so much trouble in the early game. I mean, all of the monkeys have, but Jisu has especially been hit hard because he just likes to go in lane by himself.
It's kind of his own fault, right? It's not even because the enemy team is necessarily just camping him. It's him playing so aggressive at almost every stage of the game. Early game, mid game, late game, you see him just ignore vision, ignore the enemy jungler, and just go all in, and that's why he often dies to ganks like that. We've also seen him, you know, get some solo kills, promo tournament as an example. We did see him actually succeed with this style, and that's obviously why he prefers to play very aggressive, because it's worked in the past. But a little bit of adaptation.
Yeah, it doesn't always work, unfortunately.
A little bit of adaptation is needed. Like, sometimes if your top laner is not winning the aggressive 1v1s, you could just pick him a tank.
Yeah, we talked about Gragas being an option. I mean, there were so many top lane bans, even from the Mysterious Monkey's side, but he still opted into this aggressive type of champion, even into a Renekton as well. Or I think it was actually picked first. So.
Yeah, he blind picked the Kled.
Yeah,
right
I mean,
there.
that's the thing, though. Like, when you're going to do something like that, you have to understand that it can get punished very easily.
Now, obviously, it's not gone wrong yet for him. He's obviously been taking some trades early. Now he's lost his flash, and that's important. If Skull is gone and he's stuck on the tower, it's a very easy tower dive for Vitality with, you know, Kha'Zix and Renekton to actually kill him. So that's something we need to follow if Jisu will continue, take some of these trades. But bot lane, that's where, again, I want to look at Mysterious Monkeys, and Vander's looking for something too.
So we're going lane to lane. Vander, he hops in, but he's unfortunately unable to get the Winter's Bite onto Dreams. Takes a little bit of poke harass in response for it. AD carry farm traded pretty evenly across the board. Lamabear sits in the mid lane, though, in the meanwhile. They're trying to push Nukeduck off and keep him from getting this farm. And now Jisu is back at it again, throws the bear trap on the rope onto Cabochard, pulling him back in. He's got his flash, but Jisu doesn't.
And I want everyone to look at the minimap right now, because if you look at the river, it's only blue wards. It's only Vitality who actually placed wards. So Jisu, without any vision right there, decided, I'm just going to start chasing forward. Now, obviously, he might have spotted Djoko around the mid lane, and it was called that, you know, the jungler is not nearby. But those kind of plays will happen again and again. His ward actually got placed in the lane, right in front of Cabochard. So he still doesn't know. Now Lamabear will spot Djoko for him.
Lands a Sonic Wave, able to clear away the placed control ward. Now Jisu, knowing junglers are both up and operational there, but he's got some cover from Lamabear. Checking back in on the bottom side, Yuki and Dreams continue this push right now, punishing Steelback, pushing him back, and keeping the farm from evening out exactly the way they want it.
And obviously before the good ward from CozQ on the Raptor camp spotted Djoko, allowing Jisu to play aggressive. But the reason I highlight it is just because it's something we need to keep following. As it's not stopped him in the past that he didn't actually know where the jungler would be on the map. And now, finding some good vision down for him up on the top side to protect the Kled.
Yeah, well, if he's going to go forward, it's kind of in the Monkey's best interest to make sure he's got the cover right now. But it is level 6 versus level 5. It's Dominus, and Jisu is out. A Cowardly Lizard. This is going to be close enough to it. Not quite first blood as Skarl hops back into the action.
Yeah, very important to highlight there that as Kled, when you lose Skarl, you need to just keep fighting to get him back. And he actually managed to do that. Nice stun from CozQ.
Nukeduck turned to stone, grounded right now. CozQ going forward, getting the twin fangs, and Miasma. Oh! Nukeduck hopping back in, but I don't know if that's what he wanted. He does force the flash out of CozQ.
Djoko was on the way towards the mid lane. That's why Nukeduck went all in. Forced the flash now. Still with Jisu top lane. No panic. Took the fight. And now, once again, his summoners are ready, or at least the flash.
Djoko returning to the scene of the crime. Jisu's got a little extra in his bar right now, but not enough to survive. Sustained aggression. Will Djoko go all in for the dive?
Also, that flash is not up, by the way. That flash, that's just a spectator bug.
It was just a bait! Djoko getting turned back around by Lamabear, and that's going to be first blood to Jisu. Pays off in the end.
I guess in the end it paid off. Nukeduck TP'd in as well. Very late and didn't get anything. Just to highlight once again, the flash from Jisu is actually not up. It is still on cooldown. It's just after the pause it showed as being available. Just saw it and said it, and as soon as I said it, my brain was like, wait a minute. He definitely used flash like a minute or two ago.
Yeah, it looked a little odd there.
So he actually managed to take that trade without a flash, stayed alive.
And look at this, Djoko, he can't go any farther. He gets cold feet, and then all of a sudden, uh-oh.
Yeah, that play is fine if Lamabear is not on top lane. If he's not near the top lane, you go in, you try and force out Skull, and you set up that tower dive we mentioned earlier against the no-flash Kled. Great. As soon as the enemy jungler is there, you just dove in, and you're not really getting back out. So, aggressive play from Djoko, punished. Bottom lane though, Pyra, that's where we really want to look at one guy from Mysterious Monkeys, which is Yuki. And now a lot of his numbers obviously come from him playing Twitch, which was banned away by Vitality in the first phase. But I actually think he's been the best performing member on Mysterious Monkeys, especially in team fights.
Yeah.
That's where we've really seen him shine.
It hasn't come out of his laning phase, that's for sure, but a lot of that is he's picking these champions like Twitch. They're going to shine outside of that in the team fights where he can open up. But on this Ashe, you know, as you said, it's kind of a key initiation tool. It can still output a lot of damage. In Yuki's hands, this could definitely be the difference maker.
But obviously the fact that his laning phase has not looked that great in the past is something we got to judge in this game when he's playing the Ashe Lulu. And it is currently dead even in CS once he actually picks up the few minions just around him, meaning that Mysterious Monkey is not being able to get an advantage on the bottom side yet, and top lane is going in favor of Vitality due to some of the ganks. Even with Jisu getting a kill, it's Cabochard with the pressure, with the CS lead, and we might see a return gank against the Kled.
Very possible, but Jisu's got some faster shoes on here now. Nukeduck looking to go in on the CozQ. Flashless, but Lamabear is there. Djoko and Cabochard, they aren't able to follow through on that one, but they were sniffing for it in the river.
CozQ playing it cool right now. Last week, fell a bit behind early game. Actually said on Twitter that there was some tilt involved after things kind of went wrong. It went downhill.
Not that surprising to hear, to be honest.
Yeah.
CozQ is still very much adjusting the LCS stage, even though he has extensive history in Challenger. It's a different caliber of player here.
It was a rough week for him, and we want to obviously see him bounce back. So we know he is a skilled player, but it's been hard. The European mid laners are very strong here in the LCS, and obviously CozQ not really been able to dominate any games yet.
And he's still got something to prove, that's for sure. Let's see what CozQ can get done here. As 10 minutes tick on the clock, the Rift Herald is going to spawn up and available. Although pressure still in favor of Vitality. You can see Lamabear hanging around this mid lane means that CozQ can't get jumped on as easily by Nukeduck.
Bot lane as well. Everything kind of looking like a fight might happen. They're just kind of poking at each other a little bit, and then everyone backs away. We're kind of waiting for the junglers to join in once again, but Djoko, after that failed attempt in top lane, no flash, already died once, and you don't want to fall behind on a Kha'Zix because then you are not a very useful pick.
No, certainly not. We've seen a lot of Kha'Zixes not be able to do a whole lot when the rest of their team has fallen further and further behind. but it's just going to be the laning phase for a little while as the LeBlanc clone tries to scare away Yuki and Dreams, but they aren't having any of it. Lamabear's everywhere right now. Ash Arrow comes on in, they find Vander, and that shield doesn't look too unbreakable. They're gonna knock him up and pinball him away as Yuki claims the kill.
That's why I love Ash. Like, things like this, where either you get a flash or you get a kill from Vander. As soon as Vander steps forward, you can just engage.
Here we go, flipping the switch right now. CozQ, he tries to get the stun off, but in the end, he's gonna have to cleanse away from the root. Djoko now being jumped on by Lamabear, follow through on the Sonic Wave engage, and that's going to be Dreams getting a wild growth on top of him. Nukeduck trying to go in for round 2 right now, but he's unable to get that much done.
Djoko didn't manage to actually step or sidestep or turn around against CozQ's ulti right there, which cost him an opportunity to maybe get something. Obviously, had he jumped forward, he might have died to the four members.
Oh, that was a mistake, my friend. Dreams is even able to clean it up with the lance. Aye.
He didn't know Dreams was actually nearby due to the control wards in the river from Mysterious Monkeys. Djoko thought, okay, one single guy, isolation damage, I will just one-shot him. And then there's this little annoying Lulu on a control ward right behind.
You got to be careful. Never know when Lulu's going to be there to back up the jungler. A lot of wards, though, placed for Mysterious Monkeys in this bottom riverside. They have a lot cleared up, as you were saying. And this means they're going to have better objective control, honestly, than either team usually does. These guys have been really, really behind in the objective game against their opponents.
Yeah, obviously very hard when you are a team that falls behind quite a lot to get objectives. But as you can see here on your screen down the bottom, guys, Mysterious Monkeys are last in all of them, and Vitality is second last.
And let's be real, though. We did talk about Mysterious Monkeys having a real hard time of it with the early schedule, but then facing off against Splice, okay, maybe you should have had a little bit better there, but this is the chance.
Yeah, because in that Unicorns, H2K, you know, that's the thing. Whenever you play the top teams in your group, we can accept that you are falling behind and not getting big objectives or gold leads. When you then play the other bottom teams, you got to really show something. Let's see top lane now. Lamabear's here.
Cabochard wanted to take the 1v1, but he has to flash the wall, and Jisu goes to charging with Lamabear right behind him. They get the kickback away from the tower. And it looks like they're going to rock the croc. Jisu gets the kill credit. Nukeduck going back in right now, but he's jumped into 2. The chains are on. Sonic Wave is not going to connect, and Nukeduck will finish off the charge. Jisu following through, but Djoko is there to taste his fear. Isolation damage, and that's a double kill for Nukeduck.
Nukeduck getting some early kills. We saw the same last week on his Fizz, and I actually felt like he played pretty well. He's the man we're looking at on the side of Vitality to try and get them through this early game here. I like what Lamabear is doing, though, on Lee Sin, and how he's actually playing with these solo laners, especially. He's very active. You know, a lot of the ganks from Djoko is kind of backfired, but Lamabear, 4 assists so far, because it's 4 assists, I guess. Is that a thing?
I think you counted correctly. I'll give you that much.
Can we make it a thing? Can we just invent something?
Maybe
anyway,
at some point. I mean, they're looking to get a tower,
he's been part of everything, Pyra.
Yeah, unfortunately, they were losing out on a few kills, though, because Nukeduck got a couple on the cleanup here. Jisu teleporting back in to save his tower's life, so Cabochard and Djoko with hurting health bars are unable to finish the job. And now you can see CozQ fancying a go onto Nukeduck. We'll take a look at this replay again. It all started with Jisu in a 1v1 with Cabochard.
I love the play here from Jisu. You know, as soon as Cabo flashes over, he uses ulti to actually get over the wall onto Cabochard because he's so close that it would automatically just activate on the Renekton. He doesn't have to like kind of run around the wall because again he's doing it right next to Cabochard. And then Lamabear just instantly follows. Obviously Nukeduck roaming first from mid lane, Djoko roaming second from mid lane, meaning Vitality gets up here to actually return some fire onto Mysterious Monkeys. And that's extremely important because it was looking like Lamabear would just kind of carry his team through this early game, but now...
Oh, Lamabear on the last second was able to stop Djoko's back. That would have been sick if he got that kill.
Didn't get to use ulti. Sadly, Djoko just went stealth and he couldn't actually see him. Lamabear, though, once again, active on the Lee Sin. One thing actually from the pick and ban phase surprised me a little bit, we didn't get to talk about. Vitality and blue side banned Elise. And I would feel like a jungler like Djoko, who literally just plays so aggro every game early on. To me, Elise should be his #1 pick. That should be the champion he wants to play. Because again, Djoko is known for his aggression and for trying to snowball his solo laners. Well then, why do you not try and get a first pick Elise? Because Kha'Zix is a pick where you have to be careful. Because you are extremely squishy and your ganks are not that strong. This actually backfired a few times in this game, just obviously as a very quick, recent example. But that was something that stood out to me. Maybe he doesn't prefer the style of Elise, but if you are an early game focused jungler, which he is, go for it.
Kind of something you want to have in your champion pool if you do want to play that style. And, you know, it could be punishing him in the long run. Djoko has tried for a couple of gank attempts. Not been the most success compared to what Lamabear has been able to bring, but, you know, 16 minutes into this game, it's not translated into a huge gold lead, right? Mysterious Monkeys, they've got 600 ahead of their opponents. That is mostly off the kills and maybe a little bit off CS. However, Steelback is actually 20 CS up on Yuki right now.
Yeah, that's obviously a bit of a problem for Yuki down the bottom lane, but the fact he is playing Ashe and he can still just use his engaged tools to be useful is good for him, because there's enough damage on the rest of the team. When you have Cassiopeia, you have Kled, you have Lee Sin. Now, funny enough for Mysterious Monkeys, the fact that they're actually not that far behind is a very, very positive thing, because so far in the EU LCS, as a team, they're on average down 3,000 gold at 15 minutes. Now, obviously, it's been 6 losses, so it's natural you fall behind, but 3,000 gold on average. That means there's been games where you've been down more than that.
We've seen the Mysterious Monkeys have quick games, but you're right, it has all been losses so far for these guys, so they're just getting snowballed on more often than not. However, in this particular situation, they didn't take the greatest of trades, despite the fact that they were relatively even. They gave up a tower. They can't claim the Rift Herald buff, though. So that's a little bit of a help for the Monkeys as they come charging on in.
If we can't get it, you can't get it, no one gets it.
Nobody's happy to
Oh, but Djoko, he can sneak in with his ulti. Try and snap it. He's still up there.
Jisu's guarding.
He's still up there. Jisu's just sitting on it, protecting it.
He's going to keep throwing the bear traps.
Oh, Djoko, get in there with the stealth. It's only Jisu.
Oh, no,
he's on his way. He's on his way.
He couldn't be waiting this long. Oh. And here comes Jisu. Charging on in. Djoko goes stealth, and Jisu goes out.
And this is gone now.
Yeah.
No one gets the Rift Herald today, Pyra.
What a sad day.
I like the protection from Mysterious Monkeys. Cabochard, he wasn't actually near the top lane. Try to make something happen bottom side.
Oh, insta-flash. CozQ's been really jumpy this game. Good reason, though. I mean, there was a croc coming straight for him.
Yeah, I guess either you flash now, you take some damage, and then you flash. Might as well just flash instantly.
That's what you do, right? See a croc coming straight for you?
Yeah, I would probably just, if I could actually flash over a wall,
F instantly.
I would definitely. Probably wouldn't work in real life, and I'll just kind of stand there, look into the wall, and then I'd be pretty screwed.
That's a good thing.
Luckily, there's no crocs in Berlin,
yeah.
from my understanding at least.
I haven't seen one either, personally.
But have you been swimming around the rivers?
Definitely not.
So, you never know,
I'm not
mate.
saying I've checked everywhere. I'm just not going looking.
The Berlin crocodile.
The only one I see is on the Rift right now. With Cabochard, despite the fact that he's been trying to bully, you know, he's the one who's down a death compared to Jisu, who's been able to pick up a couple of kills here and there. Out of the laning phase, this looks good.
He's on a mission, Pyra.
Yeah, he's been looking good as well. Looking for a Nukeduck, waiting and baiting, see if he can grab him in the brush, but curses.
It's not over. It's not over. It's not over. It's over.
No, it's not over. Whoa! All of a sudden, it blows right on up as CozQ gets stopped for a second, is able to cleanse and flash his way to safety. He already flashed, excuse me. Cabochard looking to go back in once more. Nukeduck trying to get the assassination off. He's really been hunting after those couple of kills, a little emboldened. See if they can get the charge on, but all the focus on the mid lane is for naught right now. Mysterious Monkeys have been able to mobilize quick enough.
But we just want to see Vitality return to this mid lane now with no flash, no cleanse from CozQ. And you have LeBlanc, one of the best mages at setting up ganks, because you use distortion in their face, use your chains, and then suddenly this guy is not getting away. Djoko is around, Vander is around. We might see 3 flashes for this one kill into maybe a mid tower. And see, they're looking for bot lane suddenly, but that actually is good. That's good for Mysterious Monkeys. They can actually fight here.
Djoko, Vander, we're going a little deep here, get some vision down, and now they're on mid lane.
Want to note as well, Cabochard with TP. No TP and Jisu. Nukeduck with some damage mid. Bot lane tower going down as well to Steelback. So right now Vitality using the TP advantage and the fact that CozQ sits without summoners to control mid lane, which forces Mysterious Monkeys to respect the fact that multiple guys can roam down to the bottom lane with the TP, so they have to back off bot lane as well.
And back up mid too.
Yeah, they back up mid, and a lot of lanes are being pushed in by Vitality due to, once again, CozQ and the TP advantage.
All right, 20 minutes in. A few attempts by Vitality to try and break down the door in the mid lane. But while it's all happened, they've been managing to get towers top, get towers bottom. Jisu is looking to answer on the top lane himself. The Monkeys, they've just not been able to get quite so many objectives, and this is costing them in the gold game.
You can see Vitality investing fully into the 1-3-1 with their composition. Static shift Caitlyn completed. That is if you don't feel like you have enough wave clear already, because obviously when you queue through the wave and you don't fully one-shot them, and then suddenly you have to start clicking on the minions to actually last hit them. Much easier to just static shift proc on the first one, then queue through.
Why waste mana if you don't have to?
Yeah, job's done.
Yeah, just build the charge.
Doesn't waste time, you can move away faster as well. Now, I personally prefer rapid fire cannon on Caitlyn or PD. However, I get the value in the static shift from Steelback, because his job, this is every AD carry's dream. His job is to sit mid lane and shoot minions. If he ever leaves the mid lane, his team might yell at him for saying, why are you not holding mid?
That's a boring dream, dude.
For some players, that is the dream. Because now it's all about Djoko, Cabochard, and Nukeduck winning, you know, the two side lanes, and the roaming Kha'Zix who finds the guy who's split up from Mysterious Monkeys for the 1v1 isolation damage Pyra, while Steelback is pushing minions.
I don't think that's every AD carry's dream. What about the Vayne players?
Name one AD carry who wouldn't like that.
Double it?
Maybe. Have you asked him?
No.
See?
Good point.
There you go.
I haven't asked.
Can't prove me wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I'm an AD carry main. I don't like that.
Are you? I thought you played like Singe top lane.
It's only when I don't get my main.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's not here nor there. Vitality are taking control of this river right now, and this is a good time to do it. Infernal Drake's about to spawn up, and even though Monkeys managed to get the first dragon, it was a lot of trade for it. It looks like that might go the way of Vitality this time around as Jisu and Nukeduck take the places down in the bottom.
Obviously, if you are Mysterious Monkeys, you need Jisu on the bottom side if you want to fight for this Drake, this Infernal Drake coming up. Otherwise, he can't really join the team fast enough. So they're investing everything bot lane, meaning they will lose the top lane push. Cabochard will be able to push in that wave and get some pressure for Vitality, but they're starting it straight away, Pyra here.
There we go. Looks like we're going to be fighting over the Drake right now. Monkeys have the advanced position, but there's always a steal attempt possible. No, Djoko does not get in time. Monkeys are able to stay together, grab themselves the objective, and get out.
Well, Vitality needs to at least get a mid tower. They even used TP right there. And
I get it. Ash Arrow, though.
Ash Arrow.
Gonna land on to Cabochard, and now they go charging in. Jisu wants to take the fight. Wild Growth is on, looking for Cabochard. CozQ is able to get a massive ultimate off, and it sends Vitality reeling. Steelback able to limp away just barely. No one's gone down in this fight, but the Monkeys defend, and they push Vitality back.
Yeah, Vitality, you have the pressure in so many lanes. You have double TP, and yet you allow the Mysterious Monkeys to rush down an Infernal Drake.
That might be more.
Baron, that's risky, though.
Yeah, it is. Jisu's at half his health bar, but look at how fast they're churning through this Baron, and in comes Vitality. Djoko around the backside. Can they spot him? Can they stop him? This is gonna be messy. In comes Lamabear. The spike goes down. It's stolen away by Djoko, and now it's time to clean up. It looks like Mysterious Monkeys, they looked like they were getting the bad end of that one, and it is oh so true. Steelback comes in for some cleanup, and with the help of Cabochard and Nukeduck, Jisu is going absolutely nowhere. Big swing for Vitality there.
I guess if you can't react fast enough yourself to stop a Drake, you can just rely on the enemy team rushing an early Baron with only one guy back in base.
Oh, that hurts.
That obviously hurts, the fact that Djoko can go in and get the steal, but the play in itself, when you have Cassiopeia, I don't actually mind you trying to rush down Baron if you have maybe forced at least one other guy back towards the base. It was just one player from Vitality out of the actual fight. The rest still around.
That's the second time we've seen a big Baron mistake on a Mysterious Monkeys that I remember recent memory. The first time they were on it, they could have done it. They backed away, got cold feet. This time they committed. They could have taken that fight.
Very true, but we also have to remember, even if Mysterious Monkeys get the Baron, they still lose the fight right after. So in that sense, it becomes almost a lose-lose situation for Mysterious Monkeys, because it doesn't matter if you get a Baron and then 4 members, or maybe even 5, die right after. It's still an advantage to the other team. It was Vitality slow on the trigger, lost Infernal Drake. It was a good play from Mysterious Monkeys, defended mid tower, almost killed Steelback. And then they went for that aggressive, but that is their playstyle. And that's the thing, they are trying to be super, super aggro all the time.
Sometimes it just doesn't seem like there's as much of a point to it, though. They like to go in, they like to fight, they like there to be action and explosions and fire, but there's no plot. It's like I'm watching The Expendables.
That's a good movie, though. If you prefer the action.
I'll tell you, I like this kind of movie, Deficio, but I don't know if it's going to work out so well for the monkeys.
But that's the thing, Pyro. As long as you tell yourself, I just want to see some action, I want to see some fast plays, well, then the Mysterious Monkeys and the Expendables are both very, very good for you.
They'll always deliver, that's for sure.
If you expect insane acting or great macro, well, then this is not for you.
Loses his mount, loses his life. It's Cabochard coming up with a second kill for him on the game. We're 26 minutes in now, and it's been swinging, but a big, big advantage Vitality's way, and now they can push on multiple fronts. 2 lanes here.
And man, it really feels like Vitality were just gifted this 7K gold lead right now. Because it was so even. And it was actually Mysterious Monkeys who made the good play just before, but Nukeduck, he's doing well this game. We gotta
I mean, he picked up 2 kills off that Baron fight, but he'd also gotten a few earlier on the roam spree, and this is what happens when you can get a LeBlanc nice and fed.
Yeah. And this is the classic trap, trying to see if we can get some damage on them while they're trying to kill this minion wave here. Vitality seems like they might just back away here, but it's also like the kind of game where, you know, every split, I feel like, Pyro, we as a casting team, we sit down and we say, is this the year of Nukeduck? Is this the split where Nukeduck really becomes one of those absolute carries in the EU LCS once again?
Well, we've just seen so much of this guy up and down, though, right?
Exactly.
Like he's been in the LCS pretty much from the beginning. You got to go back to when you were playing.
Season 3 Summer Split was when Nukeduck joined on Lemon Dogs, and he was almost instantly, as he joined the EU LCS, the best mid laner in Europe. I'm just going to say that hands down from playing against him. Not only was he actually individually insane, he was also shot calling. Like, mentioned the entire team in game. It was actually very impressive when you played against Nukeduck. But after Season 3 Summers we talked about so often, it's never really been the same. And he always manages to have a few games here and there where we're like, oh man, Nukeduck is back. This is it, Season 3 Nukeduck, baby. Yeah, we're going. This is
the other thing. You got to talk about quality of opponents, because the monkeys haven't shown us so far that they can really pull a game back when they've kind of let it spiral out of control. They always fight, and it's easy to predict after a certain point. However, it's good to see that in those types of situations, this is where some of Vitality's old names can start to shine. Now the Asher comes out with Steelback. He's got a QSS for that one. And Jisu goes on in, but he's knocked up by the Braum ultimate. Cabochard looking to come around the side. How long can Jisu tank this up? It looks like a while, but Nukeduck looking for the deletion. Trying to find Dreams. It's not going to be enough. They get a big stun proc, but Nukeduck takes out Dreams. And now they're looking for the tower down mid. It's only 28 minutes, but they want to break this base.
Once again, Vitality getting that Baron is now giving them massive lead.
Oh, it's Cabochard coming in. Steelback able to clean up 2 off the back. That's a quick double kill. And the base is wide on open. Make that a triple, 28.5, and we got inhibitors.
Well, they might be going for more here, Pyro, because you got quite some time on CozQ, Yuki, Jisu, and Vitality going straight for Nexus.
You don't think about death timers being this long at this point in the game, but when you just get the kill right before you break into the base, this might be all she wrote. Vitality, they have had a big old drought here in the EU LCS, but that ends right here, right now, in under 30 minutes. Down goes the Nexus, and they are 1-0 up.
What a weird game, where I actually felt like Lamabear in the early game did some good stuff for Mysterious Monkeys. It looked pretty even across the board, and then that moment where CozQ sits without summoners, there's no TP for Jisu, it's kind of Vitality takes over, we feel like they're in control. Randomly, they're too late for an Infernal Drake, they TP'd in and then kind of didn't really do anything, and 30 seconds later, they kill 5 members and get Baron, and then they win the game off that.
Yeah, the tempo seemed like it really was driven by the Mysterious Monkeys, but the problem was they fell out of step, and that man on your screen, Nukeduck, that was all he needed to start picking off targets.
Yeah, Nukeduck, very good game from him, getting kills early and then using them after as well to obviously get even more. But yeah, Mysterious Monkeys, like, constant all-in aggression. At this level here, it's really hard to consistently try and do it. And when you then rush that Baron, there's no way out. you're going to have to try and get the Baron and then try and win the fight in a massive disadvantage because you're stuck in that Baron pit.
But this was a bit different of a Monkeys game. I mean, we'd normally seen one of two things happen. And for the most part, it was Monkeys getting just kind of rolled over in the laning phase.
Very true.
And trying to fight it out. However, this time around, it just came down to one big throw. Now, Vitality have struck first in the hunt for their elusive victory. Let's check back in with Shox and VETI for more.
Very much Pyra. Yes, indeed, Vitality, they have a win on the board, and well, we're going to have to see if they can turn that in to a series win. And in the beginning of the game, what we usually praise Vitality for, if anything, is that they had power in the early game, that they try and look for those first bloods, but it was the Mysterious Monkeys who had a solid plan.
Yes. What I really want to highlight with this first blood play is the lack of communication that you have with Vitality. So you can see this vision that Vitality have set up in the early game, right? This is the amount of control that they have, and they can see where Jisu is, because Vitality, they want to get Cabochard snowballing, they want to shut down the Kled. Coming to this early gank top not only is a very classic Vitality move, but is also the correct play, because you start getting control over the top side of the map. And if we just keep rolling out the clip, what you'll see is Jisu has an inkling that this play is about to happen, but he doesn't know exactly where Djoko is going to be coming from. So he wants to move down to the bottom side of the map. Lamabear is hanging around as well, and just watch where he puts this ward, right? This is a bad ward because he has vision of the river, and he's got vision in the anticipation that Djoko is walking up, but he has no idea of what's going on inside this brush. He has no information whatsoever for Djoko, so he is fully in control. All he needs to do is wait for the crocodile to push up top, and then he can come instead. Without any knowledge of where Lamabear is, and without the support of his top laner, he goes for a solo play, which ends up giving away first blood. And this just demonstrates the sheer lack of communication that is happening between the rest of Vitality, because the simple play is wait. Just wait for Cabochard to come up. You have TP, you have everything ready to secure yourself that first blood play, and instead he goes to the solo and he ends up giving it away.
All right. One question though, if I was a top laner and I don't really know where the jungler is, and I think he might be in the bush, by process of elimination, don't I just try and put the ward in the safe spot?
Yeah, you should. Like,
yeah,
again,
okay.
like this was, I want to highlight that that was a bad ward from Jisu, and that ward ended up saving Lamabear later on as well, right?
Yeah.
So like, for Jisu, he should have just warded that tri-bush.
Oh, I was making the point that I would be afraid to ward the tri-bush because I have an inkling that the jungler is already there and I would straight up die. So by process of elimination, I just choose to put it in a safe place, and I know that he might be there. No, I've had just too much thinking about the warding process.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on then, it wasn't a good start, obviously, for Vitality. And then I started to think, oh, no, usually when they have a lead, they don't manage to close it out. So how will they be able to fight back in this game? And the Mysterious Monkeys, they showed a lot of that fighting spirit throughout the game. They were able to show to choose their fights, so to say. But sadly for them, it didn't yield them objectives.
The great thing about Mysterious Monkeys is this composition is perfect for their style, where they can force fights wherever. They know LeBlanc is in the bottom lane, and they think they can do a lot of damage before the LeBlanc even arrives, and that's exactly what happens. Now, in this situation, the optimal play is to actually either get vision around the Baron area, go for a top tier 1, go for a mid tier 1. There's still a lot of easy objectives for them to take. Instead, Mysterious Monkeys go for a Baron without any kind of proper vision setup. Not only does that allow Djoko to come in from the flank, but it also allows the rest of Vitality to just cut Mysterious Monkeys off. They're too tunneled on this Baron, even in a 4 versus 5, when they had so many options available to them. And this just demonstrates, again, the lack of experience and the lack of understanding of how to play around these objectives for Mysterious Monkeys.
Yeah, and that's also the reason that they've only gotten 1 Baron in all the series preceding this. And I thought, yes, they are going to double their number, but this is also exactly showing what kind of is the problem. Maybe running before they can walk, before setting up the proper vision to get where they want to be. But on the side of Vitality, though, fantastic turnaround, and they capitalized on it quite quickly and had a huge goal.
Yeah, I'm definitely being super critical of both teams right now, but it's also, the reason for it is because for both these teams, you want to be getting points on the board. You're now at the bottom of the group, and you need to be trying to beat these other teams if you want to stay ahead of the curve. And right now, both these teams are making such big mistakes that the other team could capitalize on, that they're missing opportunities to do so. And I think it's important to highlight these so that hopefully we can see growth from these teams in the future, because that's the most important thing, that they develop over time.
Yeah, and very much so. And your prediction was also full on for Vitality. And actually, in a way, it makes a lot of sense, because Vitality had early game leads or leads in general and wasn't able to capitalize because they were up against teams who would take objectives and have the macro counterweight. But the Mysterious Monkeys are not able to deliver any of that.
Exactly that. And things look promising. Again, you can see the Mysterious Monkeys, mechanically, they're doing superbly, right? They are still being able to match or outplay their opponent. It's just about transitioning that. It's about taking your time to think about what is the next move, what is the best thing for our team to do, and it just feels like rather than taking that extra couple of seconds to think about what the next best move is, they kind of go off gut and they say, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to go for the Braum. We can do it. We can rush it. And it just, Vitality read that and they're like, no.
At least the thought was there. And they did take a dragon as well, so they made
did.
their
Their
total
dragon control
5
is actually
now.
very good this game.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, we'll see if the Monkeys rather can turn it around. But Vitality, they are on a mission to take their very first win of the split. Game 2 is coming up right after the break.